I've learned a lot of lessons throughout my life. If you make your bed every morning, you'll have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. By the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you will never do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better. If you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. Every day during training, you are challenged with multiple physical events. Long runs, long swims, obstacle courses, hours of calisthenics, something designed to test your mettle. Every event had standards, times you had to meet. If you failed to meet those standards, your name was posted on a list. And at the end of the day, those whose names were on the list were invited to a circus. A circus is 2 hours of additional calisthenics designed to wear you down, break your spirit, and to force you to quit. No one wanted a circus. A circus meant for that day you didn't measure up. A circus meant more fatigue. And more fatigue meant that the following day would be more difficult, and more circuses were likely. But an interesting thing happened to those who were on the list constantly. Over time, those students who did 2 hours of extra calisthenics a day got stronger and stronger. The pain of the circuses built inner strength, built physical resiliency. Life is filled with circuses. You fail. You will likely fail often. And it will be painful. It will be discouraging. At times it will test you to the very core. But if you want to change the world, don't be afraid of the circuses. You are taught that if a shark begins to circle your position, you stand your ground. Do not swim away. Do not act afraid. And if the shark, hungry for a midnight snack, darts towards you, then summon up all of your strength and punch him in the snout, and he will turn and swim away. There are a lot of sharks in the world, and if you hope to complete the swim, you will have to deal with them. As for my life, I've been around the world twice. I've talked to everyone once. I've been to 3 world fairs. There ain't nothing I can't do. No sky too high, no sea too rough, and no muff too tough. There's been a lot of lessons in my life. Never shoot a large caliber man with a small caliber bullet. I've driven all kinds of trucks. 2x, 4x, 6x, and those big motherfuckers that go shh, shh, and bend in the middle when you press the brakes. Anything in life worth doing is worth overdoing. Moderation is for cowards. I'm a lover and I'm a fighter. I'll wine, dine, intertwine, and then sneak out the back door when the refueling is done. So if you're feeling froggy, then you better jump. Because this frogman's been there, done that, and is going back for more. So cheers, boys. These men of the Special Forces have had other options in their lives. Other paths, easier paths they could have taken. But they took the hardest path. The narrow causeway that is not for the Sunshine Patriot. They took the one for the Supreme Patriot. The one that may require them to lay down their lives for the United States of America. The one that is suitable only for those who want to serve their country so bad that nothing else matters. And why do they do this, you ask? It's because there's a storm inside of us. I've heard many team guys speak of this. It's a burning, a river, a drive, an unrelenting desire to push yourself harder and further than anyone could think possible. Pushing ourselves into those cold, dark corners where the bad things live, where the bad things fight. We wanted that fight at the highest volume, a loud fight, the loudest, coldest, darkest, most unpleasant of the unpleasant fights. In times of uncertainty, there's a special breed of warrior ready to answer the nation's call. A common man with uncommon desire to succeed. forged by adversity. He stands alongside America's finest special operations, forces to serve his country and the American people and to protect their way of life. I am that man. They are, of course, aware of a higher calling because they are sworn to defend this country and to fight its battles. And when the drum sounds and they're going to come out fighting, and when it does sound, the hearts of 1,000 loved ones miss a beat. And the guys know this as well as anyone. But for them, duty and commitment are stronger than anyone's aching heart. And those highly trained warriors automatically pick up their rifles and ammunition, and they will go forward to obey the wishes of their commander-in-chief. I will never quit. I persevere and thrive on adversity. My nation expects me to be physically harder and mentally stronger than my enemies. If knocked down, I will get back up every time. I will draw on every remaining ounce of strength to protect my teammates and to accomplish our mission. I am never out of the fight. As I mentioned before, my name is Marcus. But my back hurt like hell. I never realized how much pain 3 cracked vertebrae could inflict on a guy. Now, of course, I didn't realize I had 3 cracked vertebrae either. Could move my right shoulder, despite a torn rotator cuff, which I also didn't realize I had. My broken nose throbbed a bit, which was kid stuff compared with the rest. I knew one side of my face was shredded by the fall down the mountain, and the cut on my forehead was pretty sore. I tried to get a hold of myself, but again in my mind, I heard that terrible, terrible scream, the same one that awakens me, bullying its way into my solitary dreams, night after night. The confirmation of guilt, the endless guilt of the survivor. Help me, Marcus. Please help me. It was a desperate appeal in the mountains of a foreign land. It was a scream cried out in the echoing high canyons of one of the loneliest places on earth. It was the nearly unrecognizable cry of a mortally wounded creature. And it was a plea that I could not answer. I can't forget it, because it was made by one of the finest people I've ever met, a man who happened to be my best friend. Look at me right now, in my story, helpless, tortured, shot, blown up, my best buddies all dead, all because we were afraid of the liberals back home, afraid to do what was necessary to save our own lives, afraid of the American civilian lawyers. I have only one piece of advice, for what it's worth. If you don't want to get into a war where things go wrong, where the wrong people sometimes get killed, where innocent people sometimes have to die, then stay the hell out of it in the first place. The truth is, any government that thinks war is somehow unfair and subject to rules like a baseball game probably should not get into one. That situation might look simple in Washington, where the human rights of terrorists are given a high priority very often. And I am certain liberal politicians would defend their position to the death. Because everyone knows liberals have never been wrong about anything. You can ask them anytime. And if the liberal media and political community cannot accept that sometimes the wrong people get killed in war, I can only suggest that they grow up and then serve a short stint up in the Hindu Kush. I promise you, every insurgent, freedom fighter, and stray gunman in Iraq who we arrested knew the ropes. They knew that the way out was to announce that they had been tortured by the Americans, ill-treated, or prevented from reading the Quran, or eating his breakfast, or watching the television. They all knew Al Jazeera, the Arab broadcasters, would pick it up, and it would be relayed to the US of A, where the liberal media would joyfully accuse all of us of being murderers or barbarians or something worse. Those terrorist organizations laugh at the US media, and they know exactly how to use the system against us. And the way out of that is mental. It's in your mind. don't buckle under the hurt. You rev up your spirit and your motivation. You attack the courses. Tell yourself precisely how much you want to be here.